Rattler Vlog episode 42. Nicole Cooper, women's volleyball, 3-year captain of the team. That's kind of rare that you have the same captain for 3 seasons, but she pulled it off. And it was an exciting time for Rattler's volleyball at that time. So Nicole Cooper coming right up. And we're just waiting for her to join in right now. Hope you guys had a good day. Everything good in your world? I'm noticing that more and more stores around town are making masks mandatory. You guys notice that too? So this is the kind that I start wearing now. I just got to pull this up like that, and there you go. They say that this style is not really the best kind to wear because, well, I mean, it's so breathable, right? Like I have no trouble breathing with this thing. But they say that is apparently part of the problem or whatever. It's not quite as protective as maybe some of the other ones. I don't know, but works for me. Waiting for Nicole Cooper to come on here. There's someone named L'Oreal Cooper, but that's not Nicole. I don't even have my phone here. I was going to text her and tell her, chop, chop, it's time. It's all good. Colin is here. Jeff Brody, we got to get you on the Rattler Vlog one of these days. Why have we not had you on? All right. Still Nicole. Still no Nicole here. We'll give her about a minute, and then I will disconnect, shoot her off a message here, and then we will try it all again. What time is it? 7:33. Ah, there she is. All right, here we go, guys. Nicole Cooper joining us tonight on the Rattler Vlog. Hey, there she is. Joining us live, let me guess, from Sexsmith, Alberta. Is that correct?
I actually live in Grand Prairie, but teach in Sexsmith.
Ah, good. I was
Yeah,
just on the radio in Grand Prairie today.
I that's funny you say that because I was driving the other day and I swore it was your voice. I'm like, I think I know that one.
It's a little slice of Medicine Hat right there in GP
Yeah,
for you. Hey,
exactly. Hitting northern Alberta.
I love it. What's so was it pretty hot there today? I know that there was a heat advisory for pretty much all of Alberta, but what about there?
It was like 24, so not smoking hot. The last 2 days definitely were much warmer than today. So, but
Here
up
in the
here
hat,
24 is pretty hot. So
we're shivering at 24.
I wish. I'm a Southern Alberta sun person, so
Yeah. Hey Nicole, where's home for you? I'm looking at your bio and I'm looking at a lot of your player information from years gone by, and it seems to have evaporated. I have no idea where you're even from.
so I'm from Bow Island, Alberta, so about 30-40 minutes from Medicine Hat. So grew up in that area and now have made my way to northern Alberta.
Do you know the name of the doctor who delivered you? Do you know that?
No.
Because my uncle was a longtime doctor in Bow Island, and I think he delivered pretty much every baby there for about 20 years.
Who's
And
your
I
uncle?
think I think you might kind of fall in that window where he might have delivered you, Dr. Larry Hogeveen.
Oh, I'd say there's a pretty darn good chance. Yep. uh,
Amazing.
yeah, that's awesome.
Amazing. So, how was your first year as a teacher? By the way, what is the name of the school that you teach at?
So I teach at Sexsmith Secondary School. So it's
Okay.
a grade 7 to 12.
Ah, hang on. Your mom says Dr. Hogeveen tried, but we ended up in the hat. So
There we go. She would know.
apparently you were just hanging on there. You didn't want to let
Yeah,
go. I'm not going
exactly.
anywhere.
Wanted the ambulance ride right off the bat.
Ah, that's awesome. All right, so tell me about that first year. What a crazy rookie year. as an educator?
Yeah, I mean, first semester was amazing. I kind of got immersed right away. I coached actually the senior men's volleyball team. So not only did I take on my first teaching course load, I took on coaching a senior varsity team, and it was awesome, but so, so busy. And I don't think anyone on earth could have predicted teaching through a pandemic in their first year. And my fallback just constantly was like, we're trying our best, but there was no class on this in post-secondary, no how to teach through a pandemic. We didn't get the 101 on that. So it was definitely a learning curve, that's for sure.
Hmm. Now, when it comes to coaching volleyball, I mean, as you say, there's a lot of, juggling your time and so on there. Uh, I'm sure you poured your absolute heart and soul into it. I mean, those must have been some long days, and with all the practices and everything else there. I mean, I know you take it incredibly seriously.
For sure. I know there was a lot of days that like I'm an early morning person, so I like to be at the school between like 7 and 7:30. And often with volleyball, you weren't getting home till 8:30 or 9. So it was big days, really big days. And I know you just I really sat back and appreciated all the people who did it for me. I took it for granted in high school. I just thought it was an expectation that it was just normal for my teachers to step up and coach and didn't think twice about it. And then you do it and you're like, holy moly, like that's giving up family events. It's missing friends' birthdays. It's like 13 hours days at the school. It's being in charge of 12, 15-year-old boys on an overnight trip and like, oh gosh, where like the things you just didn't realize. And so it was crazy busy, but it was really grounding experience too. Really makes me appreciate all the people who did it for me.
Good. So, what is the payoff? What did it give you? Just coaching all these young men, and like what kind of experience was that for you?
I just think to see, I mean, skill wise, yeah, you can see where they improve and that's worth it. But just actually getting to share your passion, like making someone love the game a little bit more or as much as you do. And I don't know, it's just so cool to share your passion with the people around you and maybe make it a new passion for someone. And that was my favorite part for sure.
Awesome, awesome. So, over the next 3 weeks, where is your head at when it comes to the return to the classroom? And as a parent myself, we have a lot of concerns. We have concerns for the health of our boys, but we have concerns about the mental health as well of them not going to school. What would you say to parents out there like myself who I I don't even know what to think? What would you say?
I just say that know that their genuine well-being is our genuine first concern. I mean, yes, we're battling our ATA reps going and talking to the government about safety protocols, but ultimately it's because we're worried about everyone are involved with a day. And we want to make sure that they're safe, we're safe, and none of us want to see it go back to online by the end of October because the proper things weren't put in place. Um, I know for me and 99.9% of teachers you'll talk to, we just want to be there with our students and the ability to be in class and see and interact every day. And we want to make sure that can safely happen. We don't lose them so that they have to quarantine for 14 days and that there isn't a big outbreak that means going back to online. We want that to be in place from the get-go.
Hmm. So I'm hearing that the ATA though is pushing for a bit of a delay. They feel that maybe in that first the beginning of September might be a little quick.
Mm-hmm.
What would the plan be for that 8 to 10 days that they're kind of saying that no, we should bump it back a week? What's that
So
week
I
going
think
to be for?
So my understanding is just ultimately the idea that hoping that they'll kind of sit back and think like, can we make class sizes smaller? Can we get a little more physical distancing so that maybe there is that buffer that kids could take off their masks while they're doing some work? Can we just make sure teachers have had a chance to get a supply bucket to make sure desks are clean in between? I think it's just making sure those things on top of us having all of our curriculum stuff prepared and notes packages and course outlines, that it's just adequate time to do both sides of things, because the bottom line is we're all a little bit control freakish, and so we like to have that all in place as early as possible. It's just our personalities.
Got you. Nicole Cooper joining us, a 3-year Medicine Hat College Rattler women's volleyball player. She wore number 10. She was the captain for, I think you were the captain for the 3 seasons that you were here. That's
Yes.
like completely unheard of for a rookie captain, let alone someone that served that role for 3 seasons. But I ask you this. We had Kayla Gavel on a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and what an interesting time that must have been to be on the women's Rattlers volleyball team, just having that story in addition to, just having the team, trying to really grow and build. You must look back on that time and just think, wow, we went through a lot with that team.
For sure. And I actually lived with Kayla. We were roommates throughout that year. So I it was kind of multi-level one, my close friend and team. And yeah, I don't think anything quite bonds a team like going through experience like that. It's amazing when you bond together for someone like that, just how much other things you let go. The little things that really don't matter, that are easy to make a big deal, it just really reminds you what your priorities should be.
hmm We're breaking up a little bit here. Let me try to get a little closer to my router here, and hopefully we don't lose
Oh,
connection. Or
yes.
maybe it's your end. I don't
It might
know.
be. I can try moving too.
Okay. Let's I'm pretty close to my router here, so I don't think it's
No.
my house
Oh,
here, but
probably me. When I move
okay.
upstairs, I get a better go at it. We'll
All
try
right. I'll give
this.
you 1 second here to because it was good for the longest time there.
Yeah. I should have full bars now again. So,
Okay. All right. So, let me just walk over here. So, is it safe to say then that when Kayla got her diagnosis, you were probably one of the first people there, if you kind of lived with her at the time? Is that
yeah,
I
so
mean,
she was still at home because she found out during the summer.
mhm.
But we did find out pretty quick, and we were aware that she was going in and going through some testing beforehand. So yeah, it was. I mean, I won't even pretend to compare my emotional reaction to obviously what she went through, but caring for her so deeply and her being one of my best friends, it was a very overwhelming time for sure.
But as the role of captain, then it's your job to kind of get the other girls together and help keep them focused, right? And there's still games coming up this weekend, and let's play for Kayla or whatever. But
For
we got
sure.
to stay focused on this, right?
And I mean, that was also much easier to do with Kayla's mentality towards it all. I mean,
Yeah.
at no point did she want volleyball to not be a first priority in all of our lives. So, I mean, she went above and beyond to whether she was hurting more than we ever knew, to be a tough face who never missed game day, and made it really easy for the rest of us to keep that mentality too.
Yeah, and I think it was your rookie year where what was it? It was 10 rookies on the team and only 2 returning players.
Correct. So there
How okay?
was
How did that even happen? Because I mean that is like how can a team win? How can a team develop that winning culture when you got a situation like that going on? What was the circumstance there?
So, in my grade 12 year, I was actually signed while Benj was still coaching at the college. And then he made the decision to make the move to Nate, which was awesome. But he obviously, a lot of those girls had played most of their career for him and just felt that his transition on was a really natural place for a lot of them to make their educational switch.
Hmm.
So he left, a ton of returning players left, and next thing we knew, it was a whole lot of first years. We even did walk on like a basically a tryout to kind of fill out the roster. I believe Pardo was honestly hired like 2 weeks before the 1st of September, like middle of August. So it was, yeah, it was just a big transitional year that made for a really young team. And I mean, we learned lots. It was a great group of girls. But when you lack that age and people who've been around the ACAC, definitely makes for a tough go. It was a tough transition year for sure.
So, did you go from Senator Gershaw then to the Rattlers, or who did you play for?
Yes. Yeah. So
What
I went Senator Gersha, and then my club season was with RAVC in Medicine Hat, and then straight to the Rattlers.
was that a pretty big jump skill wise? Was that kind of a big adjustment to make for you? Then I would imagine it would, right?
For
Going from a
sure.
small town
Yeah.
all the way up there.
Yeah. And I mean, I was extremely fortunate. My high school coach was amazing. He's still one of, I would credit hugely for my volleyball career. But we were a 1A school. It wasn't like, oh, how many girls are going to come to tryouts this year? It was, oh, please, 9 girls show up to tryouts so we can have a team this year. Like, we took anyone and everyone, and we were just so grateful for everyone being there who would show up. And I mean, we held our own for 1A, but
Hmm.
definitely a transition. It's not quite the same as competing at that 3A, 4A level that the Eagle Butte girls, McCoy girls, Hat High girls all get exposed to in high school.
Exactly. So, what would you say the highlight of your time with the Rattlers might have been? Would it have been that game when Kayla ended up coming back and crying during the national anthem and that sort of thing? Was that a highlight of your volleyball career, or what would you say
Oh,
would be kind of
absolutely.
the defining moment for you?
Yeah, that was a huge one. Yeah, play for K Day when we played Olds. And I mean, we had our purple socks and our purple shoelaces, and we took them three straight, and just every girl on the bench, on the court, every fan in the audience, Kayla, like it was just, I don't know if I've ever been in such an electrifying gym. It was, yeah, I can still feel chills actually from winning that game and just, yeah, the feeling and the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
And then from there, you ended up going to Lethbridge. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So I finished my degree at the University of Lethbridge afterwards.
Good. Was playing volleyball there, was that ever a consideration or
So the U of L actually doesn't have a volleyball program.
oh, okay.
So it got cut. I don't know. Back in the day, their funding goes to rugby now, which was fine. I still played rec lots, did lots of co-ed as well as actually that's when I started coaching. So I coached for Catholic Central in Lethbridge as an assistant coach and just kind of changed how I approached the volleyball game and started looking at it in a different perspective, put on those coach goggles. So
Right. So, and there's so many different styles of coaches. There's coaches that are all about the X's and O's on the dry erase board. There's some coaches that focus on the mental and they get in your head and they kind of lead you to think that you can do dang near anything you want to on that court. What style of coaching do you think that you might be?
It's funny. It's even been a learning curve coaching boys versus girls. So in Lethbridge, I coach girls, and I would say it was a little bit more of that, I don't want to say cheerleader mentality, but it was a lot more about like the self-confidence game and the self-talk and the mental game and just approaching it that way. Whereas this year coaching boys, it was interesting just how you shift mentality, And so it shifted a little bit. It was a lot more for them. It needed to be quick paced, and they weren't really worried about how you worded things, but you just needed to make it click and mean something to them. So I'd say it's hard to say I have a coaching style at this point. I'm just still trying to learn what works best for me, what works for the kids I'm coaching, and go from there.
I think you make a valid point there. I mean, coaching, I would imagine coaching high school boys must be completely different than coaching high school girls. I mean, with guys, the attention span probably isn't there. Look, squirrel.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just, it must be a different thing in that regard. But
for
again, as you said,
sure.
rewarding in a much different way, right?
Absolutely. And my significant other, actually, Joel Kotick, he is also a Medicine Hat volleyball alum. So he helped me coach this year. So they got both of us, which was great. It was really great for me to have someone with kind of the men's speed and mentality of the game, as well for them to just see both sides and have a couple of different role models. So
Good. What are some of the rival schools for you there, with your current school there and with your coaching with the boys team there? Is it a bit of a travel schedule sometimes?
yeah, we're pretty fortunate. So this area is pretty big volleyball country.
Mhm.
Pretty much the guys is a little tougher. Football's pretty big up here, so we compete for numbers a little bit. Women's volleyball is huge up here. But Grand Prairie Composite High School, I'd say that's the team that my boys got most fired up about playing. It's just something about their little saying was we got to stomp the comp. So that was their pregame mentality. So it was great. I personally think a little rivalry like that is good, light some fires and keeps things going. So I know Lethbridge always did that for us playing.
Ah, you betcha. Those rivalries between the Kodiaks and I mean Sade as
Yeah,
well. I mean, there's a lot of great strong
absolutely.
rivalries here when you're playing for the college. Have you been back here for a game at all since you played?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You
So
have. Okay.
my like first year leaving Medicine Hat, both my sister Tara and Joel were playing still. So I came back lots that year, and yeah, I've actually tried to travel and catch Rattler games. And if I couldn't make it to Medicine Hat, I usually when I was in Lethbridge, I'd watch them play there. And even now in Grand Prairie, they don't play the South teams, but I'll still try and get to the college to watch some ACAC action when I can. So
Good. What kind of facility do they have? It's the Wolves, right? Is that what they're called?
yeah, yeah.
What kind of facility do they have there, comparatively speaking?
It's actually quite nice. It's definitely, I just say more extra court space than we have in Medicine Hat. Very similar bleacher setup. Um, Probably higher roofs, but I feel
Uh,
like we think that a lot of places compared to Medicine Hat is higher roofs. So,
yeah.
but yeah, no,
Was that
it's good.
was that a bit of like a strategy adjustment for a volleyball team to make when you do have to play a lower roof building like the Medicine Hat College? And I think Briarcrest might even be lower, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, Briarcrest roof
Yeah.
is its own unique thing all in itself for sure. But no, it definitely changed the game. I mean, I won't comment too much to that. I was a middle. I got liberoed out. My passing experience is minimal, but I'm sure yes, it does affect it. And thankfully, we had great liberos all the way along who had that managed for us.
That's awesome. Nicole Cooper joining us now, 3 seasons with the Rattlers women's volleyball team. Now teaches up in Sexsmith, Alberta, and she's going into her second year up there. All right, time for show and tell. We always like to get our
Okay.
guests to find something in their environment that is weird or interesting or quirky. We had, gosh, who was it? I think it was a member of the women's volleyball team right now, where a couple of weeks ago she pulled out her collection of over 250 lip balms. I thought,
Wow,
what
I
a,
don't have
what a,
anything that unique.
okay,
Mine is more of a quirky, nerdy teacher item. So, I'm gonna hopefully I don't lose too much internet going back down to my little office. But Mine is I actually have, because of who I am, my own personal laminator. So I've been busy making posters for my classroom. I took them in already, so I don't have any at home laminated to show you, but I I am that teacher who has my Snapchat Bitmoji made into posters, and then I laminate them so that I can hang them up all over my classroom. So that's my quirky little career item I have now.
So wait a minute. You integrate your Snapchat into kind of your teaching career then? Is that kind of what I'm picking up from you?
Yeah, so you can actually like on my Mac and like Google Chrome, you can actually
Yeah.
put your Bitmoji as an extension, and then you can like drag your picture. So like your Bitmoji with a pencil, your Bitmoji drinking coffee, your Bitmoji, and you can make it onto nice posters. So it does.
So so it's just kind of a different way to keep your young people engaged and in many ways kind of speak in their language.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's hilarious because I had them all over. So, like, I use them to label my different supply cabinets in my classroom. And the first thing one of my grade 8 boys said to me last year was, "Wow, this means Miss Cooper has Snapchat." I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Gave them a hard time. But yeah, I like it. It's fun. It does. It's like a conversation piece. It just makes
Yep.
you a little more real to them. So.
Well, they're going to try to get you on TikTok this fall. Just to warn you, they're going to be
Oh,
all
I'm
over that
sure
one.
that'll be the new
And
one.
yep, and they'll be teaching you TikTok dances and the whole thing, right? So you'll
Oh,
just have
yeah.
another way to bond with your class. That's
Maybe
great.
that can be the social distancing gym activity, TikTok dances this year instead.
You bet. You bet. All right, Nicole. Hey, it's been so good reconnecting with you and finding out a little bit more about where you're at. Congratulations on a great first year of teaching, and here's hoping that we can have an incredible full school year, and your pupils will learn a lot, and everybody's going to stay healthy. So thanks for joining us tonight.
For sure. Thank you so much for having me. It was great. I appreciate it.
All good. And one more question.
Okay.
We always like to get a recommendation on who you think would be an incredible guest on an upcoming Rattler vlog. It could be a teammate, it could be one of your coaches, it literally could be anybody during your time with Medicine at College. Who do you think would be really good to talk to here?
I think Christine Fisher, she was the libero for when I played as well. She's actually come back and started assistant coaching at the college. So she is now part of their coaching staff, and she's just really stayed connected with Rattler Nation on top of taking her CPA currently. So she's doing some great things. I think she'd be a great candidate.
I'd love to talk to her. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us tonight. All the best to your family out in Bull Island. I'm sure they're watching it right now. We send our best to them and, of course, to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care. There
Bye.
she goes, Nicole Cooper, right there. Women's volleyball for 3 seasons. Like I said, she was the captain as a rookie, which rarely ever happens. And of course, 2 subsequent years after that. Just a really interesting time to, to follow Rattler's women's volleyball. Just a great period of growth that she kind of spearheaded in a lot of ways during her time here. All right, that's it tonight for another episode of the Rattler Vlog. Thanks for watching tonight, guys. All the best, and have a safe and enjoyable evening. And I think I'm back tomorrow. We'll find out. Keep an eye on the Rattler social media and watch for the big announcement for all of our upcoming guests. We always post it the morning of that particular day. So there you go. Again, on behalf of Nicole, see you soon. Take care.